Humanity had always been curious. They wanted to explore, learn, and grow. When they found out that they were not alone in the universe, many people on Earth were excited. They thought it was the beginning of something beautiful. For a while, it was humans joined the Galactic Concord, a large group of alien species that shared knowledge, culture, and peace. Earth sent its best diplomats and scientists. The aliens welcomed them, but they also feared them. Humans were different. They adapted too fast, learned too quickly, and were not afraid of challenges. Some alien leaders saw humans as a threat. The Concord held a meeting without Earth. After many secret talks, they made a decision. They said humanity was dangerous. They voted to remove Earth from the Concord. Earth was banished from all trade, communication, and travel in Concord space. No help, no ships, no messages, just silence. On Earth, the news shocked everyone. People were angry and sad. Many felt betrayed. Leaders held emergency meetings. Some wanted to beg to be let back in. Others said it was a chance to start fresh. One voice stood out in the chaos. It was President Alan Graves. He looked calm but firm. He said, "We will not beg. We will not forget. But we will move forward." Under his command, Earth changed. The government united into one strong system. People worked together. Old arguments between countries faded. Everyone had one goal: survive and grow. Scientists and engineers worked day and night. Farmers grew food in harsh places. Factories built machines and tools. Children were taught to think big. Admiral Nora Bennett led the space program. She was strong and smart. She didn't speak much, but her actions were powerful. She told her, "Team, we must reach the stars. Not just for revenge, for hope." Earth's first big goal was building their own space fleet. They had no help, no alien parts, and no blueprints, but they had human minds and human hands. In the cold lands of Antarctica, they built the first great space dock. They called it Deep Forge. Ships began to rise from its metal arms. The first ship was called Dawnfire. It was large and strong. It carried humans farther than ever before. They sent it to the edge of the solar system and brought it back. It worked. The second ship, Skyblade, went even farther. Soon they built more. They sent ships to Mars, then to the asteroid belt, and finally to new stars. The people who left Earth did not forget what had happened. They called themselves the Lost Children, but they were not weak. They built new homes on hard planets. They found energy in deep rocks. They created food in machines. They learned how to survive in space without help. Years passed. The old sadness turned into strength. The young no longer cried about being banished. They only asked, "What next?" Humanity spread quietly. They did not tell the Concord where they went. They hid their new colonies. They avoided alien ships. But they watched. They listened. They waited then. One day, something changed. A human scout ship found a planet rich in metal and water, perfect for building. But it was close to the edge of Concord space. The leaders met to decide. Some said it was too risky. Others said it was a sign. President Graves spoke again. "Let them see us. Let them remember what they threw away." They built a new city on that planet, a shining place called New Terra. It had tall towers, clean air, and people full of pride. From New Terra, they sent a message. It was short: humanity endures. No one answered, but the message spread. Some Concord leaders were afraid. Others were curious. Some wanted peace. Others wanted to stop Earth before it grew too strong. But Earth did not attack. They did not ask for war. They just built. They sent more ships. They trained more people. They got ready in the shadows. Of the stars, humanity worked. They had been banished. They had been forgotten. But now they were building something new, something powerful. The galaxy would soon learn that humans had not vanished. They had grown, and one day they would return. Years passed. The name Earth was no longer spoken in most parts of the galaxy. Many believed the humans had died out. Some said they had turned on each other. Others thought they had become weak and quiet. But none of that was true. In the far edge of the galaxy, where no Concorde ship flew, humanity was growing stronger. They had many new worlds now. Some were cold and rough, others were hot and dry, but humans did not complain. They built cities, they made machines, they taught their children to be strong. On a planet called Relon Prime, the biggest shipyard in human space was built. It was larger than anything Earth had ever made. Giant arms moved metal and fire. Workers moved day and night. They built ships not for peace but for power. The people knew that one day the Concorde would notice them again. Admiral Scott Hayes was in charge of the fleet. He was not young, but he was full of energy. He walked through the shipyards, talking to workers and engineers. He said, "We are building not just ships, we are building our future." The first ship from Relon Prime was called Ironclad. It was a heavy cruiser. Thick armor, strong shields, and long-range cannons. It was made for war, but its crew hoped it would never be used. More ships followed. Names like Thunderhawk, Sentinel, and Red Star filled the docks. In secret, a new group was formed. It was called the Republic of Earthborn Systems. It was not a single planet or a small group. It was a growing empire of human colonies. Each world had its own leader, but all answered to one council. The council met on New Terra. President Graves was older now, his hair grey, his voice calm. He said, "We were left alone to die. Instead, we learned how to live. We must never forget what was done, but we must also not become monsters." Some members of the council wanted to fight the Concorde. They wanted revenge. Others said it was better to stay hidden. The debate went on for hours. In the end, they made a decision. The fleet would grow, the empire would expand, but they would not strike first. The Republic sent scouts. These scouts mapped empty parts of the galaxy. They found dead stars, broken moons, and sometimes strange signals. One day, a scout named Riley came back with news. "We found something," she said, "an old space station, still working, not human." The council sent a small team to investigate. The station was large, dark, and cold. It had old alien writing. The team took photos and samples. They found signs that someone had been there recently, but no one answered their calls. Back in the Concorde, news began to spread. A trader claimed he saw a strange ship near a mining world. It looked human. He said it moved fast and disappeared in seconds. The Concorde laughed at him. But then more reports came. Ships gone missing. Stations going silent. The Concorde called a meeting. Leaders from many species came. They showed the reports. A tall alien named Drell said, "It is them, the humans. They have returned." Some leaders wanted to talk to Earth. Others wanted to prepare for war. But no one knew where the humans were. They had become shadows in the stars. Back in the Republic, life continued. Children grew up learning how to pilot ships and fix machines. Schools taught the history of exile. Teachers reminded students, we are not victims, we are builders. More planets joined the Republic. Some were human colonies that had been lost for years. Others were new worlds with fresh settlers. Each new place brought more strength. Admiral Hayes stood before the fleet one morning. Ships lined the sky. Soldiers stood in neat rows. He said, "We are no longer hiding. We are ready. If the galaxy comes to us, we will not run. We will stand." And they did. Every ship had a name. Every soldier had a story. They were not just from Earth anymore. They were from many worlds. But they were all human. A new city rose on Rellan Prime. It was called Starbound. Towers of glass and steel touched the sky. In the center stood a monument. It showed a hand reaching toward the stars. Below it were the words, "We remember, we build, we rise." The Republic was still young, but it was strong. It had no kings, no emperors, only leaders chosen by the people. The people believed in the dream of never being weak again. The galaxy watched and wondered, who were these new humans? Where did they come from? Why were they silent? The answer would come soon. And when it did, the stars would never be the same again. The space around Eltari was quiet. Ships moved slowly. The planet was small but rich with fuel. It belonged to the Thalan Consortium, one of the Concord's trade groups. They did not expect trouble, but something strange had been happening. There, patrols had seen flashes in deep space, unknown signals, shadows on scanners. No one could explain it. One day, a Thalan patrol ship picked up a large object. It was moving fast. The captain, a tall alien with grey skin, gave orders to follow it. They chased it for hours. Finally, the object turned. It was not a rock or a broken satellite. It was a ship, a human ship. The patrol captain sent a message. "Identify yourself. You are in Thalan space." The human ship did not answer at first. Then a voice came through. It was clear and strong. "This is the Republic cruiser Ironclad. We are passing through. We do not seek conflict." The Thalan captain replied, "You are not welcome here. Turn back or face action." There was silence. Then the Ironclad turned toward the patrol. It moved faster than expected. Before the Thalan ship could fire, a bright beam hit its engines. Systems shut down. The ship drifted. The humans did not destroy them. They just left. The news spread fast. The Concorde was shocked. Humans were alive, and they had warships, strong ones. The footage was shared across planets. Some people laughed. Some were afraid. The Concorde called a meeting. Leaders watched the video of the Ironclad. It was smooth, dark, and quiet. One leader said, "This ship is not like the old Earth ships. They have changed." Another asked, "Why have they returned now?" No one had answers. They sent diplomats to find the humans, but none came back with news. Human space was closed. No signals, no paths, just silence. On New Terra, the Republic Council watched the same video. Admiral Hayes stood before the council. "We did not start this, but we are no longer hiding." President Graves said, "Let the galaxy see what we have built. But let them know we do not want war. Not yet." The Republic sent out more scouts, not to fight, but to watch, to show the flag. Ships moved near trade lanes, but did not attack. They showed strength, not force. One Concord planet, Varelia, asked to speak with the Republic. They were a small farming world. They had no fleet. But they remembered how the Concord left them during a pirate raid. The Republic sent a team, not soldiers, but builders and doctors. They helped repair towns and train guards. Varelia joined the Republic. This started something new. More small worlds reached out. Some wanted trade. Some wanted protection. The Republic offered both, not with threats, but with action. Meanwhile, the Concord grew tense. Some leaders still believed the humans were dangerous. Others said the Concord had made a mistake by banishing them. There was no agreement. The Concord sent a fleet to watch the border. 20 ships stood ready. Their orders were clear. Do not fire unless fired upon. One of the Republic's scout ships, the Bright Star, passed near the fleet. It did not stop. A Concord ship moved too close. The Bright Star turned and aimed its weapons. Both sides waited. Then the Concord ship backed off. No shots were fired. In the Republic, people watched the news. Some were proud. Others were worried. But the message was clear. Humans were not weak anymore. A reporter asked Admiral Hayes, "Will there be a war?" He said, "Only if the Concord starts one. We are ready, but we will not strike first." More ships were built. More colonies joined. A new academy opened on R'Lan Prime. Young people trained to be pilots, engineers, and diplomats. They were the future. On a new moon base, a child looked up at the stars and asked his father, "Will I ever see Earth?" His father smiled. "Maybe one day, but right now, this is our home." The humans had become many things: fighters, builders, leaders. They had been forgotten by the galaxy, but they had not forgotten who they were. Now, the galaxy remembered. The stars were no longer quiet. The Republic had returned. The space around Eltery was quiet. Ships moved slowly. The planet was small but rich with fuel. It belonged to the Thalan Consortium, one of the Concord's trade groups. They did not expect trouble, but something strange had been happening. Their patrols had seen flashes in deep space, unknown signals, shadows on scanners. No one could explain it. One day a Thalan patrol ship picked up a large object. It was moving fast. The captain, a tall alien with grey skin, gave orders to follow. They chased it for hours. Finally, the object turned. It was not a rock or a broken satellite. It was a ship, a human ship. The patrol captain sent a message. "Identify yourself. You are in Thalan space." The human ship did not answer at first. Then a voice came through. It was clear and strong. "This is the Republic cruiser Ironclad. We are passing through. We do not seek conflict." The Thalan captain replied, "You are not welcome here. Turn back or face action." There was silence. Then the Ironclad turned toward the patrol. It moved faster than expected. Before the Thalan ship could fire, a bright beam hit its engines. Systems shut down. The ship drifted. The humans did not destroy them. They just left. The news spread fast. The Concord was shocked. Humans were alive, and they had warships, strong ones. The footage was shared across planets. Some people laughed. Some were afraid. The Concord called a meeting. Leaders watched the video of the Ironclad. It was smooth, dark, and quiet. One leader said, "This ship is not like the old Earth ships. They have changed." Another asked, "Why have they returned now?" No one had answers. They sent diplomats to find the humans, but none came back with news. Human space was closed. No signals, no paths, just silence. On New Terra, the Republic Council watched the same video. Admiral Hayes stood before the council. "We did not start this, but we are no longer hiding." President Graves said, "Let the galaxy see what we have built. But let them know we do not want war. Not yet." The Republic sent out more scouts, not to fight, but to watch, to show the flag. Ships moved near trade lanes, but did not attack. They showed strength, not force. One Concord planet, Varelia, asked to speak with the Republic. They were a small farming world. They had no fleet. But they remembered how the Concord left them during a pirate raid. The Republic sent a team, not soldiers, but builders and doctors. They helped repair towns and train guards. Varelia joined the Republic. This started something new. More small worlds reached out. Some wanted trade. Some wanted protection. The Republic offered both, not with threats, but with action. Meanwhile, the Concord grew tense. Some leaders still believed the humans were dangerous. Others said the Concord had made a mistake by banishing them. There was no agreement. The Concord sent a fleet to watch the border. 20 ships stood ready. Their orders were clear. Do not fire unless fired upon. One of the Republic's scout ships, the Bright Star, passed near the fleet. It did not stop. A Concord ship moved too close. The Bright Star turned and aimed its weapons. Both sides waited. Then the Concord ship backed off. No shots were fired. In the Republic, people watched the news. Some were proud. Others were worried. But the message was clear. Humans were not weak anymore. A reporter asked Admiral Hayes, "Will there be a war?" He said, "Only if the Concord starts. We are ready, but we will not strike first." More ships were built. More colonies joined. A new academy opened on Rellan Prime. Young people trained to be pilots, engineers, and diplomats. They were the future. On a new moon base, a child looked up at the stars and asked his father, "Will I ever see Earth?" His father smiled. "Maybe one day, but right now, this is our home." The humans had become many things: fighters, builders, leaders. They had been forgotten by the galaxy. But they had not forgotten who they were. Now, the galaxy remembered. The stars were no longer quiet. The Republic had returned. The Concord had waited long enough. Their leaders met in a tall tower on a quiet world. They sat in a large room and argued. Some wanted to talk to the humans. Others said it was too late. The Concord needed to show its power. In the end, they made a choice. They would send a warning, a strong one. A fleet of 50 Concord ships moved toward Varelia. The Concord claimed it was still their world. They said it had no right to join the humans. The people of Varelia sent a message to the Republic. They asked for help. The Republic answered. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the warship Sentinel. Around him were other ships, strong ships, not as many as the Concord, but each one built for battle. His voice was calm. "We do not fire first, but we do not back down." The two fleets met near a gas giant. Clouds of red and gold swirled below them. The commanders spoke. A Concord admiral said, "Turn your ships around. Varelia is Concord space." Admiral Hayes answered, "Varelia asked for our help. They are with us now. We will not leave." The Concord fleet moved closer. A warning shot was fired. It missed on purpose. But the Republic ships responded fast. They locked weapons. Shields went up. The battle began. The fight was fast and sharp. Concord ships used old tactics, straight lines, heavy blasts, but the Republic ships were different. They moved in tight groups, fast and quiet. They struck with precision. They hit engines, weapons, and control decks. They did not destroy unless they had to. The battle lasted 2 hours. By the end, half of the Concord fleet was damaged. 5 ships were lost. The Republic lost 2 ships, but saved their crews. The Concord fleet retreated across the galaxy. People were shocked. The Concord, once the strongest force in the stars, had been pushed back, not by an old enemy, but by humans. People began to ask questions. Was the Concord still the Protectorate? Years had passed since the first battle near Varelia. The Republic was no longer seen as a small group of humans. It had become something greater. Many new planets had joined. Some were once part of the Concord. Others had never belonged to anyone. The Republic gave them safety, trade, and a voice. The capital city on New Terra had grown large. It had wide streets, tall towers, and a sky filled with ships. The city was clean and full of life. People of many kinds walked side by side. Human children played with alien friends. Soldiers stood guard, but they smiled. They were protectors, not rulers. President Graves walked through the gardens of the council hall. He was older now, but still strong. Beside him walked Lena Carter, a young leader from one of the new member planets. She had sharp eyes and a quiet voice. "Do you think the Concord will strike again?" she asked. "Not in the same way," Graves said. "They know we are ready. But they may try other things. Lies, tricks, divide and weaken. We must stay strong, not only in ships, but in our hearts." Admiral Hayes was in orbit, watching over the fleet. He had trained new commanders, young men and women who had never seen Earth. They had grown up among stars. They did not carry the old pain, but they understood the mission. The fleet had changed. It was not just made of warships. It had science vessels, trade ships, and rescue craft. The people called it the Star Guard. It was the arm of the Republic, but it did not strike without cause. In one distant part of space, a colony called Fenrose sent a distress call. Unknown ships had entered their orbit. The ships had no flags, no messages. They circled the colony and shut down its signals. The Republic responded fast. 3 ships jumped to Fenrose. The leader of the group was Commander Eli Brooks. He was young but had proven himself in hard times. He opened a channel to the unknown ships. "This is Republic space. Identify yourselves." There was no answer. The ships moved closer. Commander Brooks gave a warning. The ships kept coming. He gave the order to raise shields. Suddenly, the unknown ships fired. The Republic ships returned fire. The battle was sharp but short. 2 of the strange ships were destroyed. 1 escaped. The people of Fenrose were safe, but afraid. Who were these attackers? They were not from the Concord. Not from any known group. The council met that evening. President Graves listened to the report. Lena Carter stood and spoke. "We may have more enemies than we thought. The galaxy is wide. We must be ready." Graves nodded. "Then we will grow. Not just in size, but in unity." They sent messages to all member planets. More training, more defense, more care for each other. The Republic was not just a group of stars. It was a family. On the edge of known space, The escaped ship sent a message to its masters. A dark council in a far place watched the screen. One of them spoke. The humans are strong, but strength can be tested. The new enemy had no name yet, but they had watched from the shadows. They saw what the Concord had failed to stop. Now they planned their own way. Back in Republic space, life moved on. Schools taught children about many worlds. Hospitals healed without asking where someone came from. Farmers grew food on dusty moons. Engineers built faster ships. The monument on Rellan Prime grew taller. A new statue was added. It showed a soldier holding a shield. On the shield was a single word: unity. Admiral Hayes stood before his fleet once more. He looked at the stars and said, "They will come again. Maybe not today, maybe not soon, but we will be ready. Not because we hate, but because we love what we have built." On New Terra, President Graves gave one last speech. His voice was soft, but his words were strong. They banished us, they forgot us, but we rose, we built. We gave peace where others gave war, we gave hope where others gave fear. And now we stand not alone, but together. The galaxy will not be ruled by power, but by purpose. This is the way forward. The people cheered. Not just humans, but all kinds. The stars had seen empires rise and fall, but now they saw something new. The Republic was not perfect. It had struggles and mistakes, but it kept moving forward. And as ships moved through the stars, as cities lit up distant worlds, and as children looked to the sky and dreamed, one truth remained. Humanity had been banished and forgotten, but now they led the galaxy with courage, with honor and with unity. Asterisk, the stars above New Terra were calm. Ships moved in perfect lines. Some carried goods, others carried people. A few watched the dark corners of space. They all had one job: protect the Republic. In the council hall, Lena Carter stood at the front of the room. She had taken the place of President Graves, who had stepped down after many years of service. She was young, but she had earned the trust of the people. She looked at the members and said, "We have seen peace. We have seen war. Now we face something unknown. We must not fear it. We must meet it together." Reports had come from different colonies. Small attacks. Ships going silent. Bases destroyed without warning. No messages, no survivors. Admiral Hayes stood beside her. He was older now, but still strong. He had seen many battles. He said, "This is not the Concord. This is not pirates. This is something new. Something planned." The Republic sent scouts. They searched far into deep space. They found wreckage, burned ships, empty stations, but no clues, no name, no sign of who was behind it. One scout, a quiet pilot named Grace, found something strange. She found a hidden base on a dead moon. It had strange markings, machines not seen before. She sent the data back before her signal was lost. Lena called a full meeting of all Republic leaders. She showed them the images. She said, "We are not alone. Someone watches us. Someone moves in silence. We must decide what we do next." Some leaders wanted to strike fast. Others wanted to build walls. Some were afraid. Lena listened to them all. Then she said, "We will not run. We will not hide. But we will not start a war we do not understand. We will watch. We will learn. And when the time comes, we will act." New teams were sent to study the strange base. They found broken parts and unknown symbols. They found signs of fast travel and strange energy. No one knew what it meant. Admiral Hayes trained a new group of officers. They were called the Watchers. Their job was to protect the edge of Republic space. They flew fast ships with long eyes. They watched the stars. One day, a Watcher ship named Horizon found a signal. It was faint but clear. It was a message, not in any known language, but it had rhythm, like a code. Lena asked the best minds to study it. After days of work, they found a pattern. It was a warning. The words were simple. They are coming, not to speak, not to share, but to take. The council grew quiet. Lena stood again. Now we know, this is not a guess. This is real. The Republic moved fast. Colonies were warned. Defenses were raised. Ships were placed at key points. The people were told the truth. There was no panic. There was no fear. The people had been through worse. They had been left alone once before. They had survived. Now they were not alone. They were one dot in the dark of space. Lights flashed. Unknown ships appeared near a mining world called Orin. They did not send a message. They opened fire. The call for help went out. The Republic fleet jumped into action. Admiral Hayes led the force. He stood on the bridge of the Red Star. He looked at the enemy ships. They were black and quiet. No signs, no flags. The battle was fast. The enemy moved like shadows. But the Republic was ready. They worked as one. They used speed, skill, and unity. They pushed the enemy back. One enemy ship was caught. It was pulled into a bay. Soldiers boarded it. Inside they found machines, not life. Cold metal mines. Number. Faces, no voices. Just orders to destroy. Lena spoke to the people again. Her face was calm. Her words were clear. We now know what we face. They do not talk. They do not think like us. But we will stand. We will protect what we have built. All over the Republic, people worked together. Engineers built better shields. Pilots trained harder. Farmers grew more food for the colonies. Children learned about unity and strength. The Watchers became heroes. Their names were known across the stars. The people sent messages of thanks. They said, "We are not afraid. We are ready." The enemy did not return for a time, but the Republic stayed alert. The sky was not empty, but it was watched. On a quiet night, Lena stood on the roof of the council hall. She looked at the stars. A young girl came to her. She was the daughter of a pilot. She said, "Will they come again?" Lena looked down and smiled. "Yes, but so will we. We will always be here, together." The girl nodded. She looked up at the stars. "Then we will win." And somewhere beyond the stars, deep in the dark, machines waited. But so did the Republic. And this time, they were not forgotten. They were the light in the dark.